Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Hello friends, this is Vijay. Welcome to ForumIAS Hindu Daily. In our today's news analysis, we are going to see the list of topics in the display. The first one, ICMR says, rising cases of fever and cough linked to influenza subtype H3N2. And these days, you might have known, Delhi have been suffering because of the rapid spread of H3N2. So therefore, the news came up in today's newspaper. And the significance is in preliminary GS1 and mains GS1. For the rest of the topics, the significance had been given. Kindly make a note. These are the articles we are going to see today. Then the second one is related to the seahorse. Then the third one is related to the moidams in Assam. And the fourth one is related to Quad Summit. And the last one is related to Olive Ridley. So these are the few topics we are going to discuss today. Apart from these topics, we are having a previous year prelims questions here. So without any delay, now let us dive into the first topic. So the background, the cases have been skyrocketing due to H3N2. This is the news. And infectious disease, you might have known, they are spread either by bacteria or viral agents. Okay. So they will spread by bacteria or viral. And they are ever present in the society. Okay. Usually infected cases are present in numbers below an expected threshold. But every once in a while, there may be an outbreak. Example, COVID-19. And here in this case, a new strain or new disease that has a significant impact at either a local or at a global level. So H3N2, it is a variant of the subtype. It is a subtype of influenza A. And before getting here, we should know what are the variants in disease spread. Okay. The first one is epidemic, and the second one endemic. Then the third one is pandemic. The endemic is related to the disease. If it is permanently present in a particular region, means it will be termed as a endemic. Okay. Then here we can give the example Ebola. So Ebola is a endemic. Then with respect to the pandemic, it is used to describe a epidemic when the spread is global. So there is a correlation between epidemic and pandemic. The geographical extent is the only variations which exist between the epidemic and pandemic. Generally, epidemic is an outbreak that affects many people at one time, and it can spread through one or several communities. So right now, H3N2 is an epidemic. And pandemic, I already told you, the geographical spread will be very high. Example, COVID-19. So COVID-19 is a pandemic. Every day we have been witnessing some 10,000 to 20,000 cases. So therefore, we are terming it as a pandemic. And what is influenza? Influenza, it is an acute viral infection of the respiratory tract, which is considered to be one of the life-threatening infectious disease. So the threat of the viral infection is very high with respect to influenza. The viruses, okay, the influenza viruses, they can be transmitted by direct contact with infected individuals via the contaminated objects. It is also called as fomites. Okay. Then by inhalation of virus-laden aerosols. So through inhalation, we will be intaking the aerosols infected with virus. So these are the few ways through which influenza have been affecting the humans. An unexpected emergence of a new and highly virulent influenza virus strain can result in a worldwide pandemics with high morbidity and high mortality. Example, in 1997 and 2009, we had witnessed avian flu and the swine flu. So therefore, we should take very extreme cautious measure to prevent the spread of influenza. Then human influenza viruses, they are actually single-stranded RNA. So these viruses, generally they will be having a single-stranded RNA. The main target of the virus are the columnar epithelial cells of the respiratory tract, which will be present in the trachea, bronchi and bronchioles. So these are all the areas where in the human lung the gas exchange will be happening. So the impure CO2 and the pure O2 will be get exchanged in these regions. So if the virus is affecting this region, means it will create respiratory discomfort. So this is up to the mechanism and the region where the influenza have been attacking. With respect to the infectivity, the prevailing pH and moisture, then temperature, then salinity of the water, as well as the UV radiation, what we are getting from the sun rays. So these are all the few factors which have been influencing the infectivity of the influenza. And the family, they belongs to the family of Orthomyxoviridae. There are 3 variants are there: A, B, C. H3N2 is a influenza A subtype. So here we should know what are the 3 major variants and how we are classifying them. Generally, influenza, it will be caused by A, B, C. Okay, 3 variants are there, as I already told you. The disease, colloquially called flu in humans, is generally caused by viruses A and B. Subtypes of influenza A and B viruses can be further categorized into several strains. So there are various variants are there, but we should know right now H3N2 is a subvariant of influenza A variant. Okay. Now, with respect to the influenza type A, they are very well known to infect people, birds, and pigs. So these are all the few living organisms in a massive scale have been getting affected by the influenza type A. And type B viruses, they are responsible for a same spectrum of diseases as influenza A. And influenza B, they won't cause any pandemics. Influenza type B viruses, they won't cause any pandemics. They will be causing in certain regions, they will be causing endemic, and in certain regions, they will be creating the epidemic. And influenza A virus, the subtype H3N2, it is a highly virulent disease. The time of multiplying among the population is very low. Therefore, the virulent character is extreme compared to the other variants. So these are all the few things you should know. Then with respect to the symptoms, generally fever and respiratory symptoms like cough, running nose, then other symptoms as like body aches, nausea, vomiting, then diarrhea. These are all the few symptoms it had been prevailing there among the patients. Apart from these symptoms, the asthmatic patients, there are many additional individuals who have serious lung infections and they are having huge difficulties in breathing. Okay, so if the asthma patient, if they are getting affected by these strain means, then the probability of recovery is very low. Therefore, it have been cautioning the patients who are already infected with the TB and other related disorders. Then individuals with chronic illness, they are also having certain danger over this strain. So they also should take certain cautious measures related to the epidemic what we are witnessing. Then with respect to the treatment protocols, antiviral drugs are there. So oseltamivir, zanamivir, permavir, baloxavir. So these are all the few antiviral drugs. The government agencies have been deploying these stages of antibiotics in treating the H3N2. Apart from these things, for uncomplicated cases of H3N2, managing the symptoms alone will be enough. So these are all the few symptoms. For each and every symptoms, they will be prescribing certain medications and the patients are supposed to follow. Now, we should know, apart from taking the medications, the patients are supposed to take plenty of rest and they need to keep the body very hydrated, and taking over-the-counter medications to relieve symptoms such as fever, headache, and other related pains will be a suitable measure. Okay, so this is up to the H3N2. Now let us discuss about the ICMR. The Indian Council of Medical Research, it is the apex body in India for the formulation, coordination and promotion of biomedical research. So with respect to the biomedical research, ICMR have been playing a lead role. Its mandate is to conduct, coordinate, implement some medical researches, and they can take elaborate measures to reach out the population for delivering the benefits of the medical research. And the fund for ICMR, it have been flowing from Government of India's budget, and it have been functioning under the Department of Health and Research under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So this is up to ICMR. In its observations with respect to the H3N2, the ICMR noted that about half of all the patients admitted with the respiratory illness, they have been tested with, and they had been confirmed with H3N2. So at least 92% of the hospitalized patients detected with virus. Therefore, the fever and the cough have been, the range of fever and cough is extremely high among the patients. Almost 86% of the patients, they are having cough. Okay, now let us dive into the next topic. It is related to the seahorse, especially the great seahorse. And commonly the seahorses are under the IUCN near threatened, but the great seahorse, it is a bit more facing certain dangers, therefore it is not in the near threatened category. With overfishing, great seahorses bolt from Coromandel. So this is the topic. Now let us discuss. And why in news? Due to overfishing, all along the coastline in the Coromandel region primarily includes the Park Bay and the Gulf of Mannar region, which means the region what they are mentioning is locating in the extreme south of the nation, and from where actually these seahorses, they have been migrating towards the Utkal plains, and the seahorses have been doing a northward migration. A seahorse is of any 46 species of small marine fish in the genus Hippocampus, and Hippocampus, it is an ancient Greek name, and hippos means horse and campos means sea monsters. So by clubbing that, we are calling it as a seahorse. And seahorses, they are having a head and neck suggestive of a horse. So if you are seeing the anatomy of the head portion, means it will be similar to the prevailing horses. Okay, then seahorses, they also feature segmented bony armor. So this is the bony armor, and it is an exoskeleton, and they are having a prehensile tail. So this is the prehensile tail. With this help of prehensile tail, they will be moving upwards and downwards, but they are very poor swimmers. And the habitat, they are living in the geographical location of 45 degrees south to 45 degrees north. They live in a sheltered area such as seagrass beds, then estuaries, then coral reefs, then mangroves. These are all the favorable habitats for seahorses. In India, some 9 species are distributed along the coast of 8 states, and totally 46 species are there, but in India we are having 9 species, and they spread through 8 states and 5 union territories. And with respect to the geographical extent in India, Gujarat to Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they are actually having a considerable population. And with respect to the characteristics, I already told you, they are having external body armor, but there is no body scales. Body scales, if you are seeing the fish, means there will be a scalings, right? So like that, the seahorses, they don't have any body scales. And as I already told you, they are very poor swimmers, but they will be using the current of the water, and they will be using the dorsal fin to move in the water. Although they are bony fish, they don't have scales. That's a major point. And each species, they are having a distinct number of rings. The armor of the bony plates also protects them against the predators. So these are all the bony fins, and these anatomical feature, it will give some safety to the seahorses. And the seahorses, they swim upright, and they will be propelling their body using the dorsal fin. And the pectoral fins, also located on either side of the head behind the eyes, are used for steering. So here actually there will be a pectoral fin, but it is not visible to us with respect to this seahorse, but generally there will be a pectoral fin. And they are very good in camouflage. So by using the camouflage techniques, they will evade from the enemies, and they can grow and reabsorb the spiny appendages. So these are the spiny appendages. So based upon the need, they can grow and absorb it. And with respect to the reproduction, it is a unique feature which have been prevailing among the seahorses. Generally, The female, they will tend to release their offsprings. But with respect to seahorses, the female, they will be injecting the ovaries into the male pouch. Then after the gestation period, the male will gush out the offsprings from the pouch. The pouch, it will be similar. It will looks like a kangaroo's pouch. You might have known how the kangaroo and all will be carrying the offspring in the pouch. Like that, these seahorses, they will be having certain pouches in which the offsprings and all will be reared by the male seahorses. And here the great seahorses, they are in the IUCN vulnerable category. So this is the key fact for the upcoming prelims. You can expect the question. And because their populations are declining, the great seahorses alone, the government have been keeping in the vulnerable section. Remaining seahorses, they are in the near threatened category. And the major threats for the seahorses are hunting and poaching for medicine, then ornamental fishing. So these are all the few hazards which have been affecting the seahorses. Hunting, then ornamental fishing, then fishing gears. Okay. So these are all the few hazards which have been affecting the existence of the seahorses. Let us discuss about the East Coastline. And East Coastline, it lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. Here is the Eastern Ghats. It is not a continuous system because a lot of rivers have been flowing across the Eastern Ghats. Therefore, it is not a continuous system as like Western Ghats. And the east coast of India, they lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. It extends from the Gangetic Delta here in the West Bengal. Okay. So till Kanyakumari, they are having an extension. And the unique feature of East Coast is it is marked by the deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri. So these are the few rivers which have been flowing in the East Coast. And the Chilka Lake, you might have known, then the Pulicat Lake, where the ISRO's launch pad have been locating. These are all the few important geographical features in the East Coast of the plains. Then with respect to the Eastern coastal plain, Subarnarekha River, you might have known. So Subarnarekha River, it is also flowing in the eastern coastal plains. And a major part of the plains, it is formed as a result of alluvial fillings because lot of rivers have been draining. Therefore, it will bring some sediment load and they are depositing all along the shore. And in contrast to the western coastal plains, they are extensive plains with an average width of 120 km. So the average width along the coast is 120 km. Then this plain is also known as Northern Kirkars. In this region, it will be called as a Northern Kirkars. And here it will be termed as a Utkal plain. And between the Godavari and the Cap Comorin, it is termed as a Coromandel coast. Now the seahorses, they are moving from the Coromandel region to the Utkal region. So that's it, friends. Utkal plains, actually you might have known, it is a coastal area of Odisha. Mahanadi Delta is located in the Utkal plain. And the Chilka Lake is also located in the Utkal region. And you might have known Chilka Lake, it is the biggest lake in the country. And the extension will be varying between 780 square kilometer to 1144 square kilometer. So the south of the Chilka Lake, the lot of hills are there. So this region and all will be marked with some hills. So this is up to the Utkal plains. And with respect to the Andhra plain, you might have known Andhra plain means the northern Kirkars and the part of Coromandel coast. So this is the region, it is dotted with the delta of Godavari and Krishna. And these two deltas, it have been merged to form a single physiographic unit. Okay, so the Krishna and Godavari delta, they merged together to form a single unit. And the Kolari lake is there in Andhra Pradesh. It is also one of the very popular lake. And these regions, they are a coastline of emergence. And Western Ghats, this is a part of the region is, it is a submergence coast. Therefore, in the western coast, we are having numerous natural harbors, but in the eastern coast, we don't have any popular natural harbors. And in the western coast, this region, the Malabar coast alone, it is an emergent coast. So in the western coast, it is composed of both the emergent and submergent coast. But with respect to the eastern coast, it is completely an emergent coast. So these are the few basics related to the east coast plain and the west coast plain. In our upcoming news discussions, we will be discussing a lot of facts related to the prelims. Now, let us discuss the next topic. The Assam Moidams, it fit UNESCO's requirements for the heritage site. So, this is the article. Kindly go through it. And why in news? Yesterday, Assam CM stated that Moidams cleared all the technical requirements to be in the UNESCO World Heritage List. We should know what is meant by Charai Diyo Moidams. In the previous discussions also, we had discussed about it, but it have been repeatedly appearing in news. Therefore, from the perspective of the prelims, it acquires huge importance. The Charai Diyo Moidams, it represents the late medieval mound burial tradition of the Thai Ahom community in Assam. So the timeline is between 13th to 18th century, and here actually they are keeping the mortal remains of the members of the Ahom royalty. Okay, the Ahom royalty members, their mortal remains and all have been stationed in this Charai Diyo Moidams. After the 18th century, the influence of Hinduism became very high. Therefore, the Ahom rulers, they adopted the Hindu method of cremation, and they began entombing the cremated bones and ashes in the Maidam at Charai Diyo. So after the cremation, the remaining pieces and all will be kept in this Charai Diyo Maidams. And out of the 386 Maidams, so far 90 are at the best preserved state. So this is the few non-important basics. Then with respect to the Ahoms, you might have known, you might have studied in NCERT. The Ahoms, they founded their dynasty in the year of 1228. So 1228 AD, they founded their dynasty. And the Ahom, the kingdom was founded by the king named Chawalan Shukpa. So he is the king, or he is the mastermind behind the establishment of the Ahom dynasty. The Ahoms ruled the land till the province was annexed to the British in India in the year of 1826 with the Treaty of Yandabu. So under the Yandabu, all the regions were annexed by the British, and it happened in the year of 1826. The political setups, you might have known the key term Buyans. It is very important, and the Kales is also very important. Buyans means they are landlords. Okay, so Buyans mean landlords, and they dependent on their forced labor, and those forced labor name is Pikes. And these Pikes, they came to the Ahom from the region of Odisha. So today's Odisha, it supplied the labor to the Ahom dynasty. And with respect to the society aspects, the Kale, they often control the villages. Therefore, the Kales will be termed as a village heads. And Ahom dynasty, they were trifurcated or multiple. They actually they are having a multiple partitions in the name of Kales. So multiple Kales, they unitedly they used to form a Ahom dynasty or Ahom community. And in the later time, they came under the influence of Hinduism, and they adopted the Hindu way of cremation. Then with respect to the military, they are having superior military power, and even at the time they were having the artillery, then cavalry, then the elaborate spy system. So these are the few characteristics which have been portraying the military superiority of the Ahom kingdoms. Apart from these things, they are also very good in guerrilla fighting, and when the disturbance was created by the British, they actually followed the guerrilla fighting system. Through the guerrilla fighting warfare, they actually caused massive losses to the British army. So these are all the few basics related to the Ahoms. Now let us discuss the next topic. The Australia-Japan PMs to visit India ahead of Quad summit. Why in news? It is in news because of the scheduled Australian and Japanese PMs visit to India before the Quad meeting. And this year, Australia is going to host the Quad summit. Therefore, to warm up the ties between the nations, concerned states PMs is planning to visit India. Now let us discuss about the Quad. It is the informal organization, and it is the grouping of 4 democracies: India, Australia, US and Japan. Okay, so these are the 4 countries which united to form together an informal Quad organization. All 4 nations, they find a common ground of being democratic nations, and they also support the common interest of unhindered maritime trade and security. So primarily their focus is on the maritime only, and they aim to ensure and support a free, open and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. So this is the ultimatum of the Quad. The idea of the Quad, it was first mooted by the Japanese PM. He recently passed away, Shinzo Abe, okay, in the year of 2007. However, the idea couldn't move ahead with Australia pulling out of it, or it may be apparently due to the Chinese pressures. But finally, in the year of 2017, India, Australia, US, Japan, they come together and form the quadrilateral coalition. So it almost had taken 10 years to materialize since the inception of the idea. This is with respect to the Quad. And what are the issues which have been persisting with respect to the Quad means? They don't have any undefined vision. Although there is a potential for cooperation, Quad remains a mechanism without a defined strategic mission. So this is the prime issue what the Quad is facing. Then we all well known, they are having very narrow targets. Primarily they are focusing on the maritime only, and they don't have any coordinations for the landscapes related aspects. So this is also one of the important issue with respect to the Quad. Then the last one, India's aversion of the alliance system. We all well known, India is not a part of any military treaties so far. So these are the few things which have been pulling the potential of the Quad organizations. Then with respect to this news, today we are going to discuss the Indo-Australian relations and the Australian map. And in the upcoming discussion, let us discuss about the Japanese relations and the map related facts with respect to Japan. And in the economic front, the Australia relationship with India encompasses almost every major functions. Okay, so strategic dialogues, coordination, information exchanges, then military exercises, then economical initiatives. Lot of issues, a lot of domains. We both countries have been participating. With respect to the economic domain, the Indo-Australian FTA is there. In the last year, in the month of April, we had signed a FTA with Australia. So it is a free trade agreement, and there we both have been encompassing the trade in goods, rule of origin, then services, okay, goods, services, then TBT, technical barriers to trade, then phytosanitary measures. So these are all the few things we had discussed under the FTA, and we framed the guidelines for regulating these principles. So this is with respect to the FTA, what India is having with Australia. Then in the defense front, we are having multiple domains in which Australia and India have been participating. The first one is IFC IOR. So it is an information fusion center for Indian Ocean region. It is in Gurugram. It is an India initiative to boost the maritime security, and through which they have been exchanging the information related to the ships in the Indian Ocean region. So Australia have been benefiting a lot through the system, and we are having a strategic dialogue, 2+2 dialogues, and the 2+2 dialogue we are having with respect to the India. India is having the 2+ dialogue with respect to the US, Japan and Australia. So the defense and foreign ministers at the ministerial level, they will be participating in this strategic dialogue. And with respect to the exercise Malabar, we are well known, it is a naval exercise where India, US and Japan have been participating. These days, Australia also participating in the Malabar exercise. Therefore, I marked exercise Malabar as a defense participation between India and Australia. Then AUS Index, you might have known, it is a Indian Navy's initiative, and the Royal Australian Navy is also participating. It is a bilateral exercise. So this is the AUS Index where India have been using the latest aircraft carrier and the Tejas aircraft. These stuffs and all we have been using in the AUS Index. Then the pitch black is there where Indian Air Force have been participating, and the Australian Air Force is also participating. It is a multilateral exercise. So India's participation was additionally significant for staging the first mid-air refueling of an IAF combat aircraft Sukhoi 30 MKI. And it have been revealing a degree of coordination between the armed forces in India and between the security agencies in India and in the Australia. So this is with respect to the defense front. And in the political, Australia have been supporting India's ambitious permanent membership in UNSC. So these are all the few areas where India and Australia have been participating. Now let us discuss the map. And with respect to the Australia, it stretches from the Strait of Malacca to the coast of Americas. Not exactly, but to the coast of America, like that we can assume. The Tropic of Capricorn, it actually dividing the country. So Tropic of Capricorn have been going here. And Australia, it is the world's largest island and the smallest continent. It is the only nation that completely covers a continent, and its total area is nearly double that of India and Pakistan combined. So if we are taking a landscape of Australia, means we can say two India and two Pakistan have been presenting there. And it is located between the Indian and the Pacific Oceans, and it has been stretching 114 east longitude to 144 E. So here it is 114 E, and here it is 154 E. So this is the longitude stretch, and in the latitude stretch is between 10 degrees south to 40 degree south latitude. So this is the latitudinal extension of the Australia. If you are seeing the map, means in the north, Gulf of Carpentaria is there. It is one of the major Gulf region where actually the Great Barrier Reef have been locating here. But the residue of the Great Barrier Reef and all have been growing in the Gulf of Carpentaria. So this is also one of the key environmental location. And here the Canberra is the capital, and it is the only continent which is also a country that you should know. Some 3 states are there: the Northern Territory, Southern Australia, Western Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. So these are all the regions, these are all the states which have been locating in the Australia. And the Darling and Murray Basin, it is a very important river basin in Australia, and almost 90% of the population, they are living in the coastal regions. So okay, so the 10% of the landscape of Australia have been supporting the 90% of the population. In the interior region, Aborigines have been living. So Aborigines, they are a tribal people, so they have been living in the interior regions of the Australia. And the important deserts are Gibson Desert and Tanami Desert, Kimberley Plateau, where diamond is very popular, and a Great Artesian Basin. This is also one of the major basins located in Australia. Then Great Victoria Desert. So this is the biggest desert in Australia. Now let us discuss some other basics with respect to the cities. And here you can keep BSc. BSc means BSc MA PhD. So this is how we need to remember the cities in Australia: Brisbane, then Canberra, then Melbourne, then Adelaide. This is BSc, and this is MA, and here is the PhD: Perth and Darwin. So these are all the few cities, few important cities have been locating in Australia. Australia has a very low rainfall, and the evaporation is very high. Therefore, the multiple deserts are there. And River Murray, it starts from the snowy mountains in the Great Dividing Range. So Great Dividing Range is here, and there actually certain snow-covered mountains are there. From there actually the Darling and the Murray basins have been coming down. And you might have known about the Downs. So these are all the regions where Downs are there. So Australian Downs, you might have known, they are very popular, and it is it is largely actually used for. Now let us discuss about the Downs in Australia. They are locating in the southeast region of the Darling and Murray Basin, and they are extensively used for the pastoral activity, and cultivation is very profitable in these regions. Then Mitchell grass, which is very popular here, and they are growing in the clay soils, basaltic soils, and on the skeletal soils. So the Canterbury grassland, it is also coming under the Downs, which is locating in the New Zealand. And the Bass Strait, you should know, this is the strait which have been dividing the main Australian continent and the Tasmania. Then the Great Victoria Desert, About that, I already told you, it is the largest desert and it is the sixth largest desert in the world. So it is also locating in the Australia. Then let us discuss about the Great Barrier Reef. So Great Barrier Reef, today they are having the issue of whitening. So the corals in the Great Barrier Reef and all whitening due to the excessive acidity in the marine waters, and the global community is having huge concern over this whitening of the corals in the Great Barrier Reef, and it can be seen from the outer space, and it is the world's largest single creature, single structure made by any organisms. The reef structure is composed of billions of tiny organisms known as coral polyps. They are made up of genetically identical organisms called polyps. They are tiny, soft-bodied organisms. At their base is a hard protective limestone skeleton called a calicle, which forms the structure of the coral reefs. So this will be a calicle. These and all will be having the polyps. This structure will be having the polyps. So it was selected as a World Heritage Site in the year of 1981. So Great Barrier Reef, it is very important. Now let us discuss the last topic related to the olive ridley, Aribada ahai. Aribada means the arrival from the sea, and it is a Spanish term. About 2.45 lakh olive ridley sea turtles, they crawled ashore on the Nasi-2 beach of the Gahirmata Marine Sanctuary along the Odisha's coast for laying eggs, marking one of the largest opening day arrivals of the turtles at the site. So, Utkal friends, they have been witnessing the mass nesting of Aribadas. This is in the news. And the Aribada, related to the Aribada, I already told you. And now let us discuss about the olive ridley. Olive ridleys are, they are a medium-sized turtle, and they are living in the warm and tropical waters, and they are not living in the polar waters. This is also the fact. And in the Indian Ocean, the majority of the olive ridley turtles, they are nesting in the Rushikulya rookery near the Gahirmata beach. So we should know about some facts about the Gahirmata beach and the Rushikulya river apart from the olive ridley. Then according to the IUCN status, these olive ridleys are vulnerable, and in the CITES convention, they are in the Appendix 1. And in the Wildlife Protection Act, they are listed in the Schedule 1. Therefore, if anyone is hunting or poaching the olive ridley, means they will be facing a heavy monetary penalty and the imprisonment. Then here it is a unique pattern among prevailing among the olive ridleys. The females who have been laying the eggs in the beach, they will be returning to the same beach and to the same location every year. So this is the uniqueness which have been prevailing among these turtles, and the hatching time for the egg is 45 to 60 days. And the coast of Odisha in India is the largest mass nesting site for olive ridley, followed by the coast of Mexico and Costa Rica. So this is how the coastal Odisha have been acquiring huge importance from the perspective of environment. Now let us discuss about the key facts about the Rushikulya river. It is one of the major rivers. It have been running in Odisha. So the origin is in the Daringabadi hills of the Eastern Ghats range, and it flows into the Bay of Bengal. And the Rushikulya, it is the second largest nesting site for olive ridleys. Now let us discuss about the facts of Gahirmata Marine Sanctuary. The extension of the Gahirmata Marine Sanctuary is in Odisha from the Damra River in the north to Mahanadi in the south. So this is the geographical extension of the Gahirmata Marine Sanctuary, and it is very famous for nesting beach for the olive ridley sea turtles. So this is the few basics related to the Gahirmata and Rushikulya river. And now let us discuss about the significance. The significance, they are scavengers. So they have been doing a cleaning function in the marine ecosystem. So if the scavengers are eliminated, means then the waste and toxic pollutants and all will be accumulated in the marine system. And these olive ridleys, they are acting as a host for various fish varieties. Therefore, now let us discuss about the Rushikulya river and the Gahirmata Marine Sanctuary. Rushikulya river, it is one of the major rivers in Odisha, and the origin is in Daringabadi hills of eastern Odisha, and they are draining into the Bay of Bengal, and it is the second largest nesting site in the world for olive ridleys. Then with respect to the Gahirmata Marine Sanctuary, the extension is from the Damra river in the north to Mahanadi in the south. And after Gahirmata Marine Sanctuary, the Mexico and the Costa Rica have been acquiring huge importance for hosting the arribadas from the olive Ridleys. And here it is a fact world's important nesting beach, and it is the world's largest nesting beach for olive Ridleys. Then the significance for olive Ridleys, they are scavengers, so they will be cleaning the waste in the marine ecosystem. So if the scavengers are eliminated means, then the waste and the toxicity of the marine ecosystem will be skyrocketed. Then due to their natural characteristics, they are acting as a host for various fish stocks. And if we are eliminating the olive Ridley means, indirectly we will be eliminating the massive amount of fish stocks which have been benefiting from the host of olive Ridleys. Then they are having huge environmental importance, and they are improving the functions of the seagrass beds. Okay. Then they are acting as a transporter of nutrients from one marine ecosystem to another marine ecosystem. So this is how the olive Ridley occurs huge importance. To prevent the killing of the olive Ridleys, the government have been emphasizing on the inclusion of turtle exclusion device in the trawlers and in the fishing boats. And here is the prelims question for you. These are all the previous year prelims questions. If rainforest and tropical forest are the lungs of the earth, then surely wetlands function as its kidneys. Which one of the following function of wetlands best reflects above the statement? So the water cycle in wetland involves a surface runoff and subsoil percolation and evaporation. This is not the filtration capacity, because they have been mentioning about the kidneys, which means they are asking about the filtration capacity. And the second one, the algae from the nutrient base upon which fish, crustaceans, mollusks, birds, reptiles and mammals thrive. This is also not the statement related to the filtration capacity. Then the third one, wetlands play a vital role in maintaining the sedimentation, balance and the soil stabilization. Here, if the statement, if they had given for filtration means, we can opt it as a right answer, but it is not the right one. Wetlands play a vital role in maintaining sedimentation, balance and soil stabilization. This is also not referring the filtration capacity of the wetlands. Therefore, the last statement, aquatic plants absorb heavy metals and excess nutrients. So this is the filtration capacity, what the term have been mentioning. And generally, the plants which are living in the wetlands, they will be having a high tendency to accumulate the heavy metals like cadmium, nickel and zinc. And the excess nutrients and all also will be refined. Therefore, the aquatic ecosystem which are existing after the wetlands, they won't facing any eutrophication related aspects. Now let us discuss the second prelims question. It is related to the biorock technology. Biorock technology is talked about in which one of the following situations? In the year of 2000, the then Gujarat government, they erected multiple coral reefs in the coast of Gujarat. Those artificial coral reefs, they made under the technology of biorock. Okay, so in the biorock technology, it will be mimic the natural characteristics of the existing coral reefs. So this is how they will propel the growth of the marine plankton and zooplankton in the region. Therefore, the restoration of the fish stocks and all will be happen. Therefore, the direct answer will be the restoration of the damaged coral reefs. So this will be the right one. And here they had given the development and building materials using plant residues. This is also wrong. Then the third statement, identification of areas for exploration and extraction of shale gas. This is not the technique. And for shale gas and shale exploration, today we are using the satellite technology. Then providing salt licks for wild animals in forest or protected areas. This is an absurd statement. And the answer option A is the right one for the question number 2. This is the last question. Consider the following: the carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, excess of which of the above in the environment is the causes of acid rain. So the acid rain, it primarily it is caused by the nitrogen dioxide and the nitrogen oxides and the sulfur dioxide. Then also to the some extent carbon dioxide will also contribute to the acid rainfall by the formation of the carbonic acid. So CO2 plus water will result in the carbonic acid, but not carbon monoxide. Therefore, if we are eliminating option 1 means we will be end up with B and C. We are well known the nitrogen oxides, they are contributing to the acid rainfall, and sulfur dioxide, they are the second most important gas which have been causing the acid rainfall. So statement 2 and 4 are right. Then with respect to the acid rainfall, the wet runoff and the wet rainfall and dry rainfalls are there. So it will follow the precipitation pattern, and in the dry format, the acid particulates, they will be moving from one region to another through the usage of the current of winds. So the wind current, if it is high, means they will transport the acid particles from one region to another. So that's it, friends. Let me catch you in another news analysis tomorrow. Thank you for your patience. If you are liking the video, means kindly give a thumbs up in the like. Bye.